Welcome back, folks, to the fourth part in our series all about pressurized fermentation using the awesome range of pressure fermenters from Keg King. If you had the joy of watching the third part in this series, you saw Martin and I get rather wet when Martin did something really silly with this Apollo 30-litre unitank. Now, if you haven't watched that, go back now and watch it because you will find it educational, and we will find it humiliating.
No, at least you've dried out now. So what are we going to do today, James?
Mark, I have got it lined up so that this fermenter, which you have so lovingly sanitized and purged, is going to be filled with some beer. Now, as a recap, can you remember where pressurized fermentation really comes into its own for the homebrewer?
Well, in part two, we showed just how good those lagers were that we brewed at room temperature, no temperature control. And I think in that video I said next time we do this, we want to do some at Hoppy.
Yes, absolutely. So you're right, Martin. The big benefits of using a unitank like this are, number one, for fermenting lagers, you can reduce your temperature control needs. You can ferment your lagers at warmer temperatures, which will speed up fermentation and not produce the undesirable flavors that are sometimes associated, because the pressure in the vessel keeps those flavors under wraps. Now, the other big benefit is being able to ferment beers and have low oxygen pickup. And that really comes into its own when you're talking about hoppy beers, especially hazy hoppy beers, but any hoppy beer really, because hops oxidize really, really quickly and your flavor will just be ruined. So what I've lined up today is a little bit of a hybrid of the two, okay? So we're gonna brew a hoppy lager. Okay, now I know that you love a crispy lager and you also love hoppy beers, but most recently you've discovered a real love for hoppy lagers, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just had West Coast Pilsner from Sirencraft called Ricochet, and it was absolutely outstanding. So they kind of brew and ferment like a lager, but then also throw a load of dry hop on it.
Absolutely. So I've taken that as some inspiration because I know how much you were enjoying that beer and you were ranting about it, and actually I had a can as well and thought it was stunning. So we're going to brew a fairly traditional lager today on our brew day. We're going to ferment it like we did our other lagers. We're not going to have any temperature control. We're going to put a spundy on here, set it to 12 psi, let it ferment, do its thing. Once fermentation's complete, we're then going to use the dry hop port. We're going to empty the pressure, put the hops in, put the port back on, and then we're going to put some pressure back in and purge the tank. But we're going to reduce the pressure right down at that point to, like 1, maybe 2 psi maximum, so as to not mute the hoppy flavour that can come from the hops. If you put too much pressure in, the same can happen as is with the yeast. It can mute those flavours from actually coming out of the beer. So we don't want to do that. So this is going to be a real experiment to see whether we can deploy our tactics that we've learned to brew a lager and also use the benefits for making a hoppy beer all in one.
So James, what are we going to brew on today?
We're going to use one of our stainless steel 35-litre kettles with a 2.4 kilowatt electric element, and we're going to be doing a full immersion brew in the bag style of beer, which we've done lots of recently, and actually we can get some awesome results. It's a super simple brew day doing it that way.
It's quick and easy.
It is quick and easy, right? There's no messing around with sparging. You can kind of just get on with it, get it done, move on, and it doesn't take quite as long as doing a brew in a more traditional way. We're going to be also using a new piece of equipment that we've got here on sale at the Malt Miller, and it's our grain basket, stainless steel grain basket that goes within our kettles. We've got one for the 35-litre and one for the 50-litre. We're also going to use one of our pumps just to do a bit of recirculation at some point, just to try and clear the mash up, so we end up with some really nice bright wort that we then move on to boil.
Fantastic, let's crack on.
Martin, it's been exactly a week since we brewed our West Coast Pilsner on our brew in the bag system, right?
Right, I can't believe it's only been 7 days.
I know, because what have we got here in our glass?
Well, some would say it's finished, some would say it isn't, because it's not very clear, is it, at
No,
this time?
but the point is that this is a beer made with lager yeast that we brewed literally 7 days ago, right?
Yes.
For everybody at home, give them a little overview of the process after brew day and what we went through with fermentation.
Okay, so it went into the pressure fermenter. It sat up here on our mezzanine in a very hot warehouse at one of the hottest times of the year, where the temperature fluctuated anything from about 20 to 35 degrees.
Yeah, and we were checking that on the thermometer on the side of the Apollo. It was literally going up to like 32, 33 degrees some days.
And within 4 days, it looked pretty much finished. So took a reading, it was done.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
4 days,
yeah.
lager yeast, 3470,
Yeah.
fermented out. So we then depressurized, took out the PRV, dry hopped it.
Yeah, we took out the whole dry hop port, didn't we,
Yep.
right?
So then we dry hopped it, put that back in, put pressure back on, left it sitting there for a couple of days. Then we put some clearing agent in, which is still doing its job at the moment. Yeah, and so this is out of the fermenter, fresh, 7 days old, and it's a West Coast Pilsner.
Which is just bonkers. We've made a dry hopped lager in 7 days.
That's,
I mean, like you said, it probably needs a little bit longer to clear out, but it's looking wonderful. And I mean, aroma-wise,
I mean, yeah, it's
it's a hoppy lager, right?
it's a hoppy lager. It's, yes, you've talked about the clarity. Again, a little bit more carbonation on it, I think,
Yeah, I
as
think
well.
that's probably one thing. It does need to be sat now on some gas for a couple of days just to carbonate up again.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a case of we want to get the video done so people can see the results of what the brew turned out like.
Well, and also that, if you're trying to get a brew turned around in 7 days without compromise, you can absolutely do it.
Pressure and heat, that's what you need.
Yeah.
Oh, that is brilliant.
It really is. It really is. I mean, it's young, absolutely, but it's clean. It's piney. There's a little bit of resin in there. It's really got that Pilsner West Coast thing in check. It's really good, Martin. For everybody, again, at home, talk about what dry hops did we add in?
Okay, so the recipe you inspired, and I can't help myself. I have to meddle with the recipe. You said we were going to go this route, so I reached out to Sean, who brewed the recipe that kind of inspired it, which was Ricochet by Siren Craft.
Yeah. So that's Sean, the head brewer from Siren Craft Brewing.
He kind of said like the malt bill is pale, extra pale from Simpsons, Bohemian Pilsner.
Yeah.
They're kind of like a even amount, about 2.5 kilos. And then there's about just under 10% dextrin malt.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the hopping, you hop it on the kettle side, just like a lager.
Yeah.
So you're going 60-30, and you're using German noble hops.
Yeah.
But you're using a lot of them. You've got to get all your IBUs, all your bitterness from those. So that is a hell of a lot of hops that go in at that stage. So on the dry hop, we went New Zealand as the primary part of it. It was Motueka, because I wanted that lagery lime type taste.
Yeah.
Some Waka and some Amarillo.
Right,
So
okay.
that's also giving you that pininess.
Yeah, so you've got the sort of piney, slight citrusy orange thing coming from the Amarillo, which I can get, and there's loads of like lemon and lime going on, which is all about those New Zealand hops, right?
It's got that real citrusy hit. It's just such a beautiful beer.
Mate, I think that we can say that's an absolute success. Yes, a couple more days sat on CO2 to carbonate up, so it's really got that kind of zing that you get when you've got some good carbonation in a lager. 7 days though to turn around a beer like this using the Apollo 30-litre unitank. I mean, it's an absolute marvel. I think what we've learned with this experiment and the previous one is that actually, don't fear pressure fermentation. Jump straight in with kind of both feet, give it a go, and see what your results are. Because so far we've not had any problems.
I've been really impressed. I mean, there are no off flavors, nothing that tells you this has been rushed and it's kind of been done in a real short period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you wanted to really carry on drinking the rest of that now, whack it in a keg, force carbonate it, you could drink 19 litres of this straight away.
Well, it
okay.
might take a little bit longer than
Couple and a
straight
half,
away.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Maybe an evening, you and me together, we might be able to get through a keg of it. But
What are you up to later? Now, if you want to have a go at brewing this at home, the recipe kit's on our website. There's a link just down below. So you don't have to brew it under pressure, but you know, if you want it quick, you can do it under pressure. I think I'm going to have a go at this myself at home, James, doing both versions. I want to try the 3470 done the way it should be, but also under pressure.
yeah.
Just to see if there is any difference, but I can't imagine there will be.
No, I mean, this is absolutely stunning. Great work, as ever. Always fun brewing together. Cheers.
Cheers.
Folks, this wraps up this section of what we've been doing recently in terms of trying to give you some inspiration to have your first go at pressurized fermentation using the Keg King range of fermenters, whether that be the smaller Fermenter King Junior range or the Apollos, both of which are awesome solutions if you want to have a go at this awesome and unique part of homebrewing. Now, what I need from you is to subscribe to our channel if you're not already, hit the bell for notifications and give this video a thumbs up. There's a playlist about this whole topic that you can enjoy, 4 or 5 videos, and we will put some more out in the future. If there's things you'd like us to cover around pressurized fermentation, put it down in the comments below and undoubtedly we'll see what we can do to bring that to life.
And don't forget, you can stay up to date with everything we're doing here at Malt Miller HQ by following us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter.
Cheers.
Cheers.